Hello, hello, welcome back. I thought I would add one more video to this playlist on the DIY Medic Alert jewelry, the resin jewelry. And I thought, I wonder, how about if I make a Pandora-like bead with my extra diamond drills? Okay, so I don't have the DMC colors for this because it didn't come with it. It was just a cheap thing off of Temu. And these are the drills that I had left. I think they were from Bookmarks. So I can't find the DMC. I'm not going to stress myself out, trying to find it. But you can also use nail art, like for longer nails. And so you can get a boatload on Amazon. But I'm going to use the diamond drills. And these happen to be ruby red. And they work perfect for this project. Now, before I tell you how we're going to do it here, I decided on this last video, okay, on the last project that we did, which was this one, that the more that I look at this, the more I don't like this artwork, okay? There's just too many shadows, and I don't like the way it's sitting. So, if you make a mistake, like I would consider this a mistake because I'm just a perfectionist, I guess. But anyway, if you make a mistake and you don't like it, see there's like lines that show in here. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this down, even though it's really nice. I'm going to sand it down. Then I'm going to put double adhesive tape on it. I've had this thing around for maybe 20 years or so. I don't know, forever. But you can use whatever you've got for like scrapbooking. Then you're going to print out your artwork. Just pretend this is the right size, okay? It's not for this bracelet, but just pretend that it is. You print out your artwork. You laminate both sides with packing tape. You do not have to use this brand. Anything clear will work. Then you're going to trim it down, and you are going to wrap it all the way around, okay? And then you're going to laminate it again. And, just double stick it down to make a cylinder or a bead, whatever you want to do with it. And so that it's all nice and uniform the way you want it. And then you just put resin on it and do the same procedure as we did in the last video. So on this one, for the Pandora-like beads, all right, I made this one, this extra one. I just shrunk it down like at least 50%. It's a little blurry on this camera, but anyway, you can see this is quite small, okay, from the other ones that I did. So I think I just shrunk this down 50%. And this was probably 75%, 70%, something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this video up with treating this with the resin. And exactly what I explained on how to do this one is how you do these. Let me just zoom in here, and hopefully I can get some of the blurriness off. So what I did, same concept, okay? I put it on a piece of paper. I don't know what it is with me and my, putting things upside down when I'm on camera, but it's just getting kind of funny. All right, so, oh, look what I did here. I have to change that. I didn't have my glasses on. I just kind of winged it. But anyway, pretend that this is right, all right? I will fix it before I put resin on it in the next segment. What I did is I got all the artwork that I wanted to see done, and then I took a teeny tiny little bit of double-sided adhesive, and then I just put a few drills on either side of these. And what I'm going to do to finish this off, same thing. I'm just going to coat the whole thing in resin, after I hot glue these end caps in, because when you a clue to getting this all so that you can give it a water bath, get it all secure in there, is you make the tape, the packing tape, a little bit wider, as you're wrapping it around. And then you can just take a, bamboo stick or something and just shove that down there, all right? And you still will have an opening. And then all of this will be protected, all right? Then you're going to take that same bamboo skewer and you're going to put your resin on this and you're going to turn it slowly. Of course, this will be better because I'm not going to use this when I rotate this, but that is how you do it. And stay tuned for the next segment and we'll finish off this bead, and hopefully you like this. And yeah, we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so we are going to cut this apart. Let me just show you here. I don't want to make two beads the same, so it would look fine if I, it would go around here. And it would look fine, but I wouldn't be able to get the rhinestones on the way that I wanted it. Oh my goodness, look at these fingernails. Terrible, terrible. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this apart. And I'm going to go just to the end of it. And I'm going to cut out the information that I want. And we'll cut out this part. I'll lay that down there, and we'll cut out this part. All right. I have to remind myself to do my nails before I shoot a video, because they look just absolutely awful. But that's okay. I'm not here to win any contests here. I'm going to trim this one down. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm going to take this double-sided tape, and I'm going to wrap it around here, and then this, as you wrap it around tightly, it'll just automatically unfold itself. You don't have to have this large of a piece of tape, but okay, so you can still see the straw. And now you've got the double-sided tape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little diamond drill thing, and I am going to put this right smack dab in the center, right where I want it. And I want to make sure that I leave room for drills. Now, you don't want to put the drills on yet, okay? Oh my goodness, forgive these nails. They look just absolutely terrible. Yeah, I know. Oh well. Okay, so since we want my goodness, okay. Since we want about this much space, I would say maybe 3 millimeters. Yeah, that would be a good one. Don't worry about the overage here. I'm going to take care of that in a minute. I just want to get this as centered as I can. Now, of course, you don't have to chop yours up like I did. But I just didn't. This is just for me. If I were selling these, obviously, I would mock this up correctly. Oh, and see, we have a huge gap here and we have a small gap here. And this is why it's important to laminate both sides of these. I should just have a tweezer, but you know what? That would be too easy. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to eyeball it. It's very helpful because plastic doesn't like to stick to it doesn't like to stick to itself. To double-sided tape, I should say. It does stick to itself. All right, now we have, was I off camera on all that? I am so sorry. Now we have that much there, and we have that much there. So you can just eyeball it. And then I'm just gonna go take a little scissor. I'll cut this off just a little bit. And then we're going to take some packing tape. Doesn't need to be much. And we're going to put it over and overlap it here. I'm going to put it over here. And the beauty of using clear packing tape is that it will hold everything down and it will remain clear underneath your resin. And then when you put the resin on top of it, then it will, you can cut this excess off here. Okay, and we're gonna make sure that we have all this correct. Yep, it's all going the same direction. It's all going here. All right, and this is what I was talking about. Now it might be a good idea just to take a scissors and snip it a little bit. Do the other side while I'm here. And then we're just going to poke the edges down. You can do this, like I said, with a bamboo skewer, end of a paintbrush. Just make sure that it's all down in there. Now this is a plastic straw underneath here, so we're just waterproofing this just a little bit more than it already is. So folding over this packing tape, it will be nice and tight in there. And then I'm going to plug in my glue gun and we're going to smash these down in here. Oh, that's trying to pop up. Okay. This is how you do that. Now, before I put those, hot glue those end caps in, this is what I was talking about with the tape to put the diamond dots on. Okay. You just take a little bit of tape, and I do mean a little bit. And you are going to put it right here. Well, preferably center it. And either just take your fingernail or a pin, and then you can put your diamond drills on. Now, I already had tape on this. My goodness, okay. We're gonna be that way, huh? This is tiny, tiny busy work here. Tiny, tiny. So I already had packing tape because I just took, double-sided adhesive because I literally just took this off the other bead. But we're just going to put it on right there, and it will stick to the bead. I'll take one more. There it is. And we'll take the other side that has adhesive on it. You could also use the dollar store. You know, they have those, what do you call it? Sheets of these dots. You could also just cut some off of there. You could put rhinestones in here. Pretty much it's going to be affixed to the bead with the resin. So at this point, I'm going to stop. I'm going to glue in the end caps, and I'm going to show you how to put the resin on. Okay, see what this is doing here when we put when we rotate this at the same time that it's wet. What we're doing is we're forcing it to coat the entire bead. You can help it along here if you want to. Sorry about that, I was out of camera. But you can see that it is becoming thicker in some areas. So if we continue to rotate it, now ideally you would have a UV flashlight or something on a stand. I ordered one from Temu. It's just a couple bucks. I don't know, those endless free, you know, giveaways or whatever. They're kind of a scam, but, you know, whatever. Okay, so we just want to, we want to cure that lightly. Just by rolling it around and rotating it. I suppose you could just hold it like this. Whoop. I'm going to be making a manual rotating bead turner. That project is in the works because the parts aren't here yet. You know, they make cup turners, but they're too big. And they make attachments for pens, but I want something totally different. Oh my goodness, sorry. Okay, so you want to get this in the middle as much as possible, and you don't want it to drip, but you do want it to spin. And you want it to coat all over without dripping. Let's see if I can help this along the sides. See what I'm doing here? This is slowly magnifying whatever text that you have, whatever artwork that you have on here, especially text. It's making it larger because it's acting like a little magnifying glass. So the more resin you put in the middle, the more it's going to get bulkier in the middle. And you just want to keep adding layers like this and keep spinning it. I'm going to turn this light on, and I'm just going to manually spin it. Just enough to get it stuck on there before we do a final cure. I think I'm going to have one more coat. But you know what? I forgot to clean my brush, so I'm going to go ahead and put some alcohol on here. It has to be 91%, okay? 70% is pretty much worthless. So, okay, we've cleaned our brush off. And this, I'm sorry if I was off camera. So it's getting thicker in the middle and thinner on the edges, but we want to cover those edges. And what we want to do is make something that goes like this, okay? Like a half moon type thing. So, because this is driving me nuts here, doesn't take far to go. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to put a glop of that on, and I'm going to slowly rotate this. I will help it along the edges, just like before. And just kind of move it. It's basically the same principle as cup turning for those beautiful glittery mugs, only on a micro level for beads. So you want to make sure that there's an even distribution so you can see it getting thicker and thicker. And this is what you want. Clean off the beads. Okay, I'm going to turn this before I expose it. And ideally you want something that would spin this slow. Maybe a little bit faster, but you want to have an even distribution. Okay, let's put it under the light for 30 seconds. And we'll see how thick this is. I think the term is concave. Or is it convex? I don't know, word for the day. Takes too many brain cells to think of that on a 5th grade level. Okay. That looks pretty good, but I want another one. So we're going to go in the middle again, and we're going to add, this time we're going to go all the way around. And we are going to just force it by spinning it. We'll help it along a little bit. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. All right, that's looking pretty good. Almost pretty good. And depending on where you want your stuff, you know, how thick you want it. I want a relatively thick bead of resin on it. So expose it for another 30 seconds. And I'm going to come back when this is finished, and I will show you the finished product. Okay, we are going to cure this in a water bath for another 30 seconds. We're just going to continue spinning it underneath the water so that it doesn't continue to be sticky. Because ideally, you really should be curing this resin for, you know, 60 seconds. But it's okay if you do this and you give it a water bath and you leave it in there for the final one for about 60 seconds, and it works just fine. You wipe it down with alcohol and you are good to go. See, it's nice and shiny, not sticky at all. And this is what you get. So you get a bead that you can read, and it is a little bit bigger, magnified than it was. That is how you create your Pandora-like beads. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, there we go with the shaking hands again. Okay, so one of the last steps you need to take is you need to buff this down with some sort of nail file, and you need to check to make sure that everything is evenly distributed. And the way you can tell is, see, this is clear, and see if I can get this. It's a little bit lacking, so you can either have a choice of shaving it down or keeping it that way or adding more to it. Okay, so it's just a little bit off. This one as well. See, this right here is not as even as this one, and I like this. If you just turn it, and you've got to look at it really closely, you can see that there is a dip here. Okay, and I've got to fix that because it looks kind of ridiculous. So this is a labor-intensive, semi-labor-intensive job. But if you work at it, you'll have a nice piece to show for it. So I'm going to go ahead and continuing to buff these out. I'm going to give it another coat of resin, okay, with the paintbrush, and try to fill in the gaps with more resin in some areas than others. And then I will show you the finished product. And here are our finished beads. They're nice and hollow. They are waterproof. They got some bling on them. They've got all the pertinent information on here, again, with the upside down. Wow, okay. Alrighty then. So this project took about a half an hour just because I was, well, maybe a little longer than that. Because I was being a perfectionist. But yep, these are ready to go. And let's see, where is the other one that I had here? Yeah, I haven't redone this one yet, but these are some examples of some medical alert resin beads that you can make for yourself, and you can put whatever you want on here. Some people were saying, instead of just the standard ones, high blood pressure, epilepsy, heart issues, all that stuff, you can put, because thankfully I don't have that, but I am allergic to all narcotics, so that's an important one. And I had the fire department come one time. I was stuck in my wheelchair in the heat of summer, triple digit, okay, for like 45 minutes. My battery died. And so for firefighters, I'm not huge or anything, but the chair is like 450 pounds by itself. So, and I lived on 4th floor in an apartment, and I had been already outside for about 45 minutes. So I suffered a heat stroke and had an EMS call. And, after they got me up to my apartment to cool down, then I had an EMS call. And there were so many questions, I couldn't even think straight. So if I had had one of these, that would have been helpful. But in my case, oh my gosh, the stair chair that the fire department uses, oh my Lord, it is just a killer on your neck. So me with a cervical, thoracic, and lumbar fusion, yet the whole shebang, it was torture, I have to say. So anyway, I decided to make these, and don't intend to make any more, but just so you know that you can do it. I have every confidence you can do it, and I hope this was helpful for you and that you enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye.